Hi, I'm Pip Waller, and this is Being Human, and this is a continuation of the last videos talk about how to do the Shamanic Dream Journey. So I'm going to talk about how to do a journey to the lower world. So we go to the lower world to meet with, generally to meet with animal guides, power animals, and also plant spirits. So to get to the lower world, what we first must do is think of a place. You think of a place that you know that reminds you of the earth. So that means, for example, it's a natural place. It's not a city or a town. It's not concrete. It's nature. So it's trees, seaside, river, desert, mountains, and it's a place that you actually know. So most commonly, it's a place that you will have actually been to. Occasionally somebody's feels a real connection with a place they haven't been to, but they've seen in a film or a photograph. So it's an actual place in the middle world, in this world of ours, in nature. And in that place, there'll be some kind of opening into the ground. So that could be an animal burrow or a cave. It might be a pool of water that you dive into. It might be a tree. Many people have a tree which has some sort of a hollow, or maybe a crack in there amongst the roots that you can go in. So that's what you need to do before you even start. You need to think of that. Okay, that's the place. Usually the first place that comes to you is one that's going to work. I don't suggest that you go down from a sacred site, and there'll be more. I'll talk more about that later, but often there's something more complicated if you do journeys from sacred sites. So don't do that now. This is a beginning journey, a journey to meet your power animal, or another simple low world journey, just an ordinary place, not a sacred place or power place, a place that has that you feel good and safe in. Okay, so also you need to make sure you're not going to be disturbed. So turn off your mobile phone, to unplug the landline, make sure anything that goes beep is not going to go beep, and make sure you're not going to be, nobody's going to disturb you. You're perhaps in a room by yourself, or if you're out in nature or somewhere, you're not going to be disturbed. And generally most people, or a lot of people, like to journey lying down, although I always say for some of us, if you lie down, you're more likely to fall asleep, and you don't want to fall asleep. So if you're really tired, or you're generally a person that finds it difficult to lie down without falling asleep, then journey sitting up. There's no set position. Occasionally somebody likes to journey by dancing, standing and just a kind of trance dance, stepping forward and back in one spot. I'll do a video about that some other time. So you're going to be in that position, and you'll put your 10-minute drum journey on, and that's going to start like this. It's going to have a slow beat just for a very short time at the beginning, during which time you will say out loud your intention. Out loud 3 times, that's what I suggest. So in this case, you would say, I'm going to the lower world to meet with, or to spend time with my power animal. I'm going to the lower world to meet with, spend time with my power animal. I'm going to the lower world to meet with, spend time with my power animal. Then the drum's going to start like this. And as soon as it starts like that, you begin the journey. So that means you imagine that you're in that place. You think of that place, or you imagine going from in your mind or in your spirit from here to that place that reminds you of the earth, and you find the opening into the earth. Imagine that you're there in all the ways you can. Be aware of the ground pushing up under your feet. Be aware of the sights and sounds and smells, how it feels to be there. And then you're going to go into that opening. And what you'll find is that there's a tunnel that you go in, and you'll find that there's a tunnel that you go down. Now, these tunnels vary for people. Some people have a tunnel that goes straight down, and they just fly down or drop down really quickly. Some people have a very shallow tunnel, that a gentle incline, or maybe a spiraling down one. Some people have to push themselves to go down the tunnel. Other people run down. Some people have a tunnel that's all earth and worms and lovely roots, and other people think, yeah, I don't like that, or they don't like the dark, or they don't like the idea of going underground. And then they have a tunnel with a red carpet and lights. Just have the tunnel, your tunnel. It'll be how it is. You go in, you go down the tunnel. All the time the drum's going to be going like this. You'll go in, you'll go down the tunnel, down, 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 down the tunnel, and then eventually, some people very quickly, other people slowly, you'll come out at the bottom of the tunnel. You'll come out and you'll be, usually most people will be straight away in the landscape of the lower world. That's a natural landscape that's going to remind you of nature in this world. It could be desert, mountain, forest, river, and so on. Anything, any kind of natural landscape. That's your first opening place into the lower world. Now, some people, instead of coming straight out into the lower world, what happens is they find themselves in a cave or a cavern. And usually, always there's a way out from the cave into the landscape of the lower world. Sometimes people that have that, you'll find as you explore over time that there's more than one way out and that can take you to different places in the lower world. But for now, if you're in the cave when you come down the tunnel, just keep looking and you're going to find an exit. You'll come out in a landscape, beautiful natural landscape. And this is the landscape where you're going to meet the power animal. So remember the drum's going the whole time. You've come out into the landscape of the lower world. You're going to start to look around. You repeat in your mind your intention. I'm here in the lower world to meet with my power animal, to find my power animal. So what you'll start to do is spiral out slowly from the place where you came. Have a look around, what's the weather like? Is it day, night? What season is it? It might be different to how it is in the middle world. Feel the ground under your feet. Be aware of the sights and sounds and smells as much as you can. Move out from there and keep an eye out for animals. Now, I'm going to suggest, if you're a beginner, especially with this, what you're looking for is a mammal or a bird. You're going to keep away from insects, and also traditionally you keep away from any animal that is baring its teeth at you or growling or really looks like it wants to attack you. That's not what you're here to do. You're looking for the friendly ones. And there's one tradition that says you're going to find this animal, you're going to see it in more than one way, maybe even in 3 ways to know for sure that's your power animal. So you might see from a distance, you might see a herd of a certain animal or a group, or just one up in a tree or in the sky. And then keeping on your journey, you might then see maybe another one, or you might see a representation, even a statue or a little model or somehow a shape in the clouds. And then you're going to meet the actual power animal. So now that can happen, but I've got to tell you that sometimes the power animal, you find them really quickly. You introduce yourself. I would say, I'm Pip, are you my power animal? And that animal will give you such a feeling of love and welcome that you'll just know, oh, wow, this is definitely one of my power animals. So when you've got that connection, you ask, if you meet an animal, are you my power animal? If they're not interested in you, or they're, like I said, hostile, you ignore them and keep going, because you could meet lots of things in the lower world. And once you've met an animal that you feel a friendly vibe from, if you ask them a question and they go away, it doesn't necessarily mean they don't want you. Sometimes it might mean you followed them. So you use your intuition, and because very often animals, they don't necessarily talk to us, but they show us things. So once you've got that bond with your power animal, you can just say, look, I've just come, if it's your first time, I've just come here to meet you. Or if you're there to ask a question, you might have a specific question you want to ask, you'll ask the question. And then you'll go off with your power animal. They'll probably take you around. You could ask them, show me around. All the time the drum's going, remember? Nobody's talking. It's just all going on. You're propelling yourself. And at the end of the 10 minutes, there'll be a pause and you'll hear this noise. That's called the callback. Straight away, there'll be very rapid drumming. And this is the time for you to come back. It's not going to be very long, the rapid drumming. So you'll say thank you and goodbye to your power animal. Don't worry, you'll see them again. And no matter how much you love it there, and even if they're about to give you the winning lottery numbers, you have to come back. So you go straight back the way you came, find the bottom of the tunnel, up, up, out the top of the tunnel, back to the place that reminds you of the earth, and back into your body, wherever it happens to be, in the room or wherever you started. Completely back, fully back into ordinary reality. And then what I suggest is you have a journal and you write down your experience, everything that you remember. Now, some people, when they start this journey, they just immediately, it's really easy, it's great, it's no problem. And other people, it takes time to practice. So don't be discouraged if you don't manage it first time, keep trying. So thanks for listening. This is Pip Waller, I'm Being Human. The next video will be a 10-minute journey. And I'm going to start it with a song that I love to sing, a power song that I love to sing. So you'll enjoy.